So far, what we have discussed is we started with Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, then we introduced the Lenz's law, and we solved some problems both on Lenz's law as well as Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. In this lecture, we are going to study eddy currents. So far, we have studied the electric currents induced in well-defined paths. What I mean to say by currents induced in well-defined paths is you have a rectangular conductor, you have a circular conductor, you have a straight conductor, fine? You have a triangular conductor, so you have a well-defined path and current is induced in that well-defined path. But currents can also be induced in the bulk materials. What I mean to say by bulk materials is this. Let us suppose we have a magnetic field over here. Say we have north pole on this side and we have south pole on this side. So in between the two poles, you have a magnetic field from north pole to south pole. And I have a solid conductor. This is not a loop this time. I have a solid conductor. Say sheet of conductor. A plain metallic conducting sheet. And I am bringing this conductor back and forth to this magnetic field. I am pushing it into the magnetic field, pulling it back, pushing it into the magnetic field, pulling it back. Isn't the flux linked with this flat sheet of conductor changing? We'll roughly draw the magnetic field lines like this. So when you bring this conductor, this flat sheet of a conducting material into the magnetic field here, flux is increasing through this sheet. When you get this out of the magnetic field, flux is decreasing. So flux that is linking this plain sheet of conductor is changing. Whenever the magnetic flux passing through this plane area is changing, then as per Faraday's law, there will be an induced EMF in this and there will be a current in this. Now had this been the loop, had this been a simple loop like this, where conductors are on these four sides and it's hollow in between, here it is complete, this is a solid plane surface. Had this been a hollow loop, or had this been a loop, plain loop, that is hollow in between, when you push this inside the field or when you pull this out of the field, current will flow through this well-defined path because you have here a conductor, say on this direction or in anti-clockwise or in clockwise direction. That is immaterial here. But here in this case, you don't have a well-defined path. This whole material is conducting. Will current flow through here, here or here? Where will the current flow? Since this is a solid body, this was a loop only, this is a solid body, here current flows throughout the body of the material. Here current flows only through the boundary of the material. Why? Because the conductor is available only at the boundaries. It's hollow in between. But here conductor is available all throughout the material. So here current does not only flow at the boundaries, current will flow inside the material as well. these type of currents which circulate inside the solid conductors are known as eddy currents. I'll repeat, the currents that are induced in solid conducting materials which experience changing magnetic flux, such currents are known as eddy currents. So how do we define this? These are currents in bulk conductors when magnetic flux linked with the bulk conductor changes. So these are basically currents. Here it's current, here it's current. The difference between this and this is here you have only a well-defined path for the current flow. Current can flow only through this path because only this portion is the conductor available over here. It's hollow in between. But here it's no problem like that. Why? Because here conductor is available throughout the material. This is completely solid conductor, or what you call as bulk conductor. So eddy currents are currents in bulk conductors when magnetic flux linked with bulk conductor changes. Now the question is, what will be the direction of these eddy currents? Will eddy current flow in clockwise direction or will it flow in anti-clockwise direction? This will again depend upon whether flux is increasing or flux is decreasing, and then from the Lenz's law. The current direction here will be such that it will try to oppose the cause that originally produced it. If the original cause was increase in magnetic flux, that is, if you are getting this into the magnetic field, so magnetic flux is increasing, this will produce current such that that current flow will produce a magnetic field which will oppose the cause. Cause was increasing magnetic flux, it will try to decrease the magnetic flux. If you get this out of the magnetic field, so cause here is decreasing magnetic flux, current here will flow such that that current will produce a magnetic field. That magnetic field will produce a flux such that the original magnetic flux again increases. Fine. Let us suppose we have a magnetic field like this into the plane of page. And you have a solid conductor here. This is a solid conductor. And we are moving this conductor into the magnetic field. Here, as we move this conductor into the magnetic field, initially flux through this is 0, then flux will keep on increasing till it's completely inside, then flux again becomes constant. But the time when you start to get this conductor into the magnetic field, the magnetic flux through the loop, the magnetic flux through the magnetic flux linked to the conductor is increasing. When magnetic flux linked to the conductor is increasing, so there will be an induced EMF which will produce a current in this. The current will flow in this conductor such that the magnetic field produced by that conductor will oppose the cause. Cause was increasing flux, so that will try to decrease the flux. Since flux is into the plane of page and flux linked to this is increasing, so it will try to decrease this. So it should produce flux such that flux is out of the plane of page. In order to produce flux out of the plane of page, the current has to flow in anti-clockwise direction. So current will flow here in this direction. You will have another current here. These circular currents, I will magnify this here. These circular currents throughout the conductor these currents resemble the water currents, what you call as eddies. Or what you call the ripples in water. This is the reason why we call them as eddy currents. The name comes from the shape of these currents. These are swirling, circular shaped currents. The same way, if you throw a stone in the water, there are eddies in the water. That's known as water eddies. Here currents flow in the similar manner in circular, one circular layer here, one circular layer here, one circular layer here, one circular layer here. And you call these currents as eddy currents. Fine. Similarly, now when this conductor is here, this plain sheet of conductor is here, and you are pushing this conductor out of the magnetic field here. When you push this conductor out of the magnetic field here, so flux through this will decrease. The current will get induced in this. The current induced will be such that the current induced here will be such that it will oppose the cause. Cause was decreasing flux, so it will try to increase the flux, where flux is into the plane of page. So into the plane of page, current will flow in clockwise direction. So current here will be in clockwise direction. Since these currents are circular throughout the bulk material of the conductor, such currents are known as eddy currents because they resemble the water eddies. Fine. Now, what is the big deal about these eddy currents? Why do we need to study them? The big deal about the eddy currents is this. If you have a solid piece of conducting material inside a magnetic field, suppose we have a solid cube. Here I assumed a rectangular surface. Now I am assuming a 3D surface, a 3D material, cube or cuboid. This cuboid is placed in a space. This is placed in a space where magnetic field B is changing, or we can say flux phi is changing. Magnetic flux phi is changing. When magnetic flux density B is changing or magnetic flux phi is changing, magnetic flux linking through this is continuously changing. We do not intend to produce any voltage over this, but we have simply kept this inside a magnetic field where magnetic field is changing. So flux through this is changing. When flux through this is changing, there will be an induced EMF that will produce a current. That induced current will flow through the conductor. You will say, so what is the big deal about this? Let the current flow. But we already know from the Joule's effect of heating, whenever current flows through any material, here currents are flowing through this material, and that material has resistance. We know all the materials have some resistance, some less, some more, but all the materials do have some value of resistance. Whenever current flows through a material which has some resistance, there's a power loss, what you call as Joule's effect of heating. Power P loss is equivalent to I square into R. You remember this? Where R is resistance. Here you have current through this path, current through this path, current through this path, current through this path, and all of the paths have resistances. So power loss will be here I square R, here suppose this is R1, I square R1, here if resistance is R2, I square R2, I square R3, or I1 square R1, I1, I1 square R1, I2 square R2, I3 square R3, I4 square R4. So this material will heat up. Why? Because there are currents induced in this and it has some resistance. Whenever you have a conducting material inside a changing magnetic field, it will have eddy currents induced in it. And because of eddy currents, there will be a power loss equal to I square R. When there will be a power loss equal to I square R, so this will definitely heat up. These are known as heating losses, Joule's effect of heating. When that means this will get hot. When this gets hotter, that means there is some heat energy in this. But where from does this heat energy come? You are wasting this energy. You have simply placed an iron substance and solid piece of iron inside a region where magnetic field was changing. Because of this changing magnetic field, there are eddy currents in that material. Because of those eddy currents, there is a power loss which produces the heat. And where from does this heat come? We know from conservation of energy that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So where from does this energy come? This energy has to come from some mechanical source. Because you cannot create energy. The reason for this changing, the reason for the eddy currents induced over here is some mechanical energy. It is that mechanical energy that is being wasted as heat energy here. So you are wasting the energy here. Let me give you one more example. It will get more clear with that example. All of you are familiar with the transformers that we use in our places to increase or to decrease the voltage. In a crude form, we have not studied transformer yet. We'll study transformer in the next chapter. In a crude form, a transformer is basically it consists of an iron core, where this is an iron core. A transformer basically consists of, if you have seen a transformer open sometime, you could recall, a transformer consists of, and this is an iron core, and on this iron core you have a coil on one side and you have another coil on another side. You have two coils, coil on one side and coil on another side, and the two coils are an iron core. Now somehow I will explain that in next chapter. When you use a transformer, this whole arrangement, this whole assembly produces a magnetic flux. That magnetic flux is changing because of alternating currents, and how does that happen? I will explain that in next chapter. For time being, you trust me. Whenever this transformer operates, there is a changing flux. There is a production of magnetic field which produces magnetic flux, and that magnetic flux is changing with time. When this whole arrangement is experiencing a changing magnetic flux, when this whole material is experiencing a changing magnetic flux, this iron core is also experiencing changing magnetic flux. We already studied here and here. Whenever you have a solid material, here a solid iron core, inside a changing magnetic field, there induces eddy currents in this solid iron core. And because of the eddy currents in this solid iron core, there will be heating of the core. This is the reason why, one of the reasons why if you touch the transformer, you'll experience that this transformer is hotter. This transformer is hot. Or you can say this transformer is warm. The reason being, there's one more reason. One of the reasons being, since this transformer core is experiencing a changing magnetic flux, and because of the changing magnetic flux, there are induced currents in this transformer core. Because of those induced currents in this transformer core, there is heating. And heating means you are wasting energy. You are wasting electrical energy. Otherwise, the purpose of this transformer was, if suppose this side is known as primary, you have some voltage connected on this side, you want to convert this voltage to the voltage on the secondary side over here. But what you are doing is, you are producing some heat in between, and that heat is the wastage of energy. You are wasting energy. Is the heat of the transformer some useful energy? Do you use that heat of the transformer? No, we don't use that. That is a byproduct. That's a wastage of energy. But why does this happen? Why do this transformer gets heated up? This gets heated up because of the eddy currents. So in this transformer, is eddy current desirable or is it undesirable? Do we want eddy currents should have been in this, or we want that eddy current should not have been in this? Obviously, we want eddy current should not have been in this. Because of eddy current, there is heat in the transformer. That is, you are wasting energy. And we do not want to waste energy. So what is the solution to this? How can we reduce these eddy currents? Or how can we eliminate? We cannot eliminate them completely, but we can reduce them. Some of you might have observed that this transformer core, what I call this transformer core, in practice is not a solid material. It is made up of these E-shaped strips. I don't know if you would have seen them or not, but these are made of these E-shaped strips and these T-shaped strips. This is not made of solid material like this, solid material. No. This is made of thin strips. One strip, then second, then third, then one strip, then second, then third, then fourth strips. Not of some solid material. And why do we make them of thin strips? And then these thin strips, okay, I will come to that later. Why do we need to make these thin strips? Before answering that question, why do we make these strips, why do we make the core of a transformer not as a solid, complete, single solid material, but of strips? Strips like this is one E, keep another E on this, then third E on this, fourth E on this, you will get a solid material. Fine? And these 1E, second E, third lamination, you call them as laminations. Third lamination, fourth lamination. They are electrically insulated from each other. That is, they do not have electrical contact. If 1E and second E, they have electrical contact with each other, then if you make them of the single material or you make them of this, you make them of separate E's, is one and the same thing, because this is electrically in contact. So what we do in order to make them electrically insulated from each other, we coat these single E's with a insulating material like lacquer, insulating material, or varnish, you can say lacquer or varnish, which is an insulated material. So you have 1E over here, you laminate this with the lacquer, so this does not conduct now. you keep another E on this, which is also insulated, keep another E on this which is also insulated, so you get this material as a whole which cannot conduct current. So what in effect means that this core in the transformer cannot conduct current. It can conduct, but its conductivity reduces, and current, basically what happens there, small current loops can flow in this. We'll come to that in transformers. Basically you are breaking the current path. When you break the current path, so eddy currents cannot flow. Only small value of eddy currents can flow. When only a small value of eddy current flow, so power loss is reduced. Let me explain this here, what I mean by laminations. Again take this example here. I will explain it here. If you do not get this completely, this transformer thing, you need not to worry, because we have yet to study this transformer. This comes in next chapter, that is alternating current. I will explain it in detail there, but this part we will finish it here. Here I assumed I am using this a solid rectangular shaped conductor, and I'm bringing this inside the magnetic field, so there is an eddy current induced in this. These are the eddy currents, so this will get heated up. Now suppose I will use a material like this. Fine. Okay, I will try it. Small, bigger figure. Now what I am doing is, okay, finally. In the earlier case, you had this solid rectangle. Now you have a rectangle, solid rectangle, but there are hollow spaces or finger-like structures in this. Now we get into the magnetic field. When you get into the magnetic field, we basically want to reduce the eddy currents. Why? Because eddy currents produce losses. When you get this into the magnetic field, there would have been a circulating current. Had this been a solid material like this, and you had to get this into the magnetic field, the eddy currents would have been, say, clockwise and anti-clockwise. Flux want to decrease or flux upward, so current will have been in this direction. Eddies would have been like this. But here, can current flow through the air? Here eddy currents will flow only through this path. eddy current will flow only through this path. Are here eddy currents large or here eddy current large? One in one or in two? Here eddy current cannot flow through this way. It cannot flow like this. Why? Because there's an air in between. Current cannot flow through the air. Here it flows completely. So here eddy currents are large, here eddy currents are small. When here eddy currents are large, so losses are more losses. Here less losses. Fine. So whenever we use a transformer, whenever we have to use a transformer and there is a core in the transformer, what we basically tend to do is we want to reduce the eddy currents in the core. How can we reduce eddy currents in the core? What we do there, we do not use core made of a single solid material. We make core of using laminations. We use one flat sheet, insulate this using a lacquer or varnish, then put another piece of on this, put another sheet 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 on this. This way you get the solid core. Fine. Why do we do this? In order to reduce the losses due to eddy current. Now there are some applications of eddy currents as well. There are some uses of eddy currents as well. Like we say, friction has some advantage and friction has some disadvantage. Similarly, eddy currents have some uses as well. Advantages of eddy currents. What are the advantages of eddy currents? Number one is electromagnetic damping. Electromagnetic damping basically is in galvanometers. If you remember, what was a galvanometer? A galvanometer basically consists of a magnetic field, north and south pole, and in that north and south pole we had a coil. To that was connected a pointer and a scale which has markings for measurement. This was connected in some circuit to measure the current, these 2 points. When you connect this in circuit, current will come here, current will flow through this coil and come back here. Now you just have a current carrying conductor or current carrying coil inside a magnetic field. This experiences a torque, so it will rotate either in this direction or in this direction. But when it rotates, let's suppose current flows here, it rotates. When it reaches here, it has to stop here. But because of the inertia, this coil does not stop here. This goes here, then comes back. This keeps on oscillating here. But do we want our measurements to be oscillating, or we want them to be fixed at one point? We want them to be fixed at one point. So this would have oscillated without damping here. This would have oscillated and finally settled down to the value. But we want this value to be exact and to be very fast. For that, we do not want these oscillations of this coil here. We want these oscillations to die very fast. For that, we use electromagnetic damping. When this coil oscillates, when this coil oscillates here, because of oscillation, there is change in flux in this coil. Because of change in flux in this coil, since this is on an iron core, this coil will be on a core. Coil cannot be in the air. This is on a core. When this coil oscillates over here, the core also oscillates. When the core oscillates, the magnetic flux through the core changes. Whenever magnetic flux through the core changes, there will be induced eddy currents. Because of the induced eddy currents, it will try to dampen it. It will try to stop it. Why? Because of the eddy currents, flux will be such that we will oppose the cause. So it will try to stop this. This is one of the use of eddy currents. Second is induction furnace. Induction furnace. In induction furnace, what we do, we basically use the concept of eddy currents to melt the material. Sometimes you want to produce alloys, you have to melt the materials, but you don't want impurities to get into them. How can you do that? How can we do that? What we basically do in this, you have, say, a chamber. In that chamber, you keep a metal that you want to melt. And outside, you have a coil, you have a magnetic field here. Outside this chamber, you have a magnetic field which is changing. Because of this changing magnetic field, the flux through this is changing. Flux here is changing. When flux here is changing, so flux through this metal is changing, solid material is changing. This should be metal. When flux through this is changing, so it will have eddy currents in this. Because of the eddy current, there will be heat produced. Because of the heat produced, this metal will heat up. If we keep on heating this metal by continuously changing the magnetic field over here, this will keep on heating up till the time this metal melts. That's what is basically known as induction furnace. Third use is in electric power meters. You wouldn't have seen this. In earlier analog power meters, now you have digital electric meters at your places. In the earlier analog meters, that earlier analog meter had a disk in it. Depending upon the amount of energy that you consume, that disk used to rotate, and on that disk was connected a pointer. When that disk rotated, that pointer rotated, so reading kept on updating. That's how electrical energy consumed was measured. That disk that was in the meters used to rotate because of eddy currents. Now, the more you consume the power, the more you consume the power, the more you draw the current, the more you draw the current, the more the magnetic flux changes. The more magnetic flux changes, more is the induced current, more the induced current, more the eddy currents. More the eddy currents, more the rotation. More the rotation, more the reading. This was how electric power meters, analog type, used to work. They had a disk in them. And fourth one is magnetic braking in trains. Let me explain this with the help of an example. Suppose you have a metallic tube over here, metallic, and you have a plastic tube over here, basically non-conducting. You have a magnet over here with north and south pole. You have the same magnet over here, north and south pole. You drop this magnet here, this is hollow, you drop this magnet here. In which case will the magnet reach here first? They have the same length, same diameter. One is metallic, one is plastic tube. In the metallic case, the magnet will reach here after the magnet has already reached here in the plastic tube. Let me make it clear. The time taken by the magnet to reach the other end will be less in plastic tube. That is, it will be faster through the plastic tube and slower through the metallic tube. And what is the reason for that? The reason is this. When this passes through the metallic tube, so flux through the metal is changing. Because of changing flux, there will be eddy currents. Because of eddy currents, there will be opposition to this. It will oppose this, its motion. Because eddy currents will produce a magnetic field. That magnetic field will try to oppose this magnetic field. So there is an opposition to this. It takes time to reach here. But in this case, when you drop this, though there is change in flux, but this is a plastic material. When this is a plastic material, can current flow through the plastic material? No, current cannot flow through the plastic material. When current cannot flow through this, can that produce a magnetic field which will oppose this magnet? No, it cannot produce. So this reaches here faster. The same concept is used in magnetic braking. In magnetic braking, what is basically done? There are strong electromagnets attached to the trains above the rails. You know rails? Rails are the metallic foundations on which trains run. Above these metallic rails, the train has strong electromagnets. Whenever the train wants to stop, these electromagnets are connected to the source. When electromagnets are connected to the source, they will produce magnetic field, and that magnetic field is now changing. A magnetic field is now linking these magnetic rails. So there will be induced current in this, eddy currents in this. Those eddy currents will produce a magnetic field which will oppose the change in magnetic field. That change in magnetic field was because of the motion of the train. You have electromagnet here, there was no change in magnetic field. But when this train moves, because of the movement of the train, magnetic field changes. Because of that change in magnetic field, there are induced current in this. Because of those induced currents, there is magnetic field in this. That magnetic field will try to oppose the cause. And that cause was movement of the train. So it will try to stop the train without any physical contact. So there is no wear and tear of the brakes. This is how magnetic braking is used in trains. Fine. With this, we finished our discussion on eddy currents. In next lecture, we will start with inductance. Thank you.